Welcome, Mr. Sajedi, a new series of interviews. West-Toxification, gharbzadegi, a term which is known from Iranian philosopher or maybe ideologue Ahmad Fardid. We're going to finalize a series on his philosophy, his ideas, his thoughts. Just give us a few outlines of Fardid's philosophy, of main aspects of his philosophy, please.
Hello, and thank you very much for the chance that I have received to explain about these very important topics. Mr. Fardid is a philosopher, a so-called philosopher, but influential and also controversial. But in my opinion, I think that we can describe him as a philosopher like Mr. Dugin, because if you remember, I said that usually a philosopher should be able to produce a new idea or new thinking abstracted from the time and place situation. But what we can see from the Mr. Fardid is just mixing of some ideas and combination of part of the German philosophy and with the Iranian traditionalism, and make a new thinking but dangerous, and so that he is described as the theoretician of violence. Just I have to point out that Mr. Fardid has trained exactly like Mr. Dugin has trained a generation of politicians, not just in policy, also in the field of art, of music, of military even, that fighting with the West was their main idea, and they saw this mission assigned to them to fight with the West without any logic reason, and without any logic explanation, just based on some mixture of correct and right historical reasons. That's why.
Mr. Sajedi, what exactly is meant by they want to fight the West? What is meant with West? What is this West-Toxification Mr. Fardid is talking about? What exactly is it?
As you know, we have to come back once again to Mr. Heidegger's ideas and philosophy. Mr. Fardid was born during the first years of the 20th century. First, he studied as a religious scholar in religious schools of Shia, and then he went to the university in Iran, which was founded recently, and then he went to West to continue his education, but apparently he didn't receive any diploma, university diploma, and he was never educated. He was never, graduated. But he has claimed that he was a close student of Mr. Martin Heidegger during the years before beginning the Second World War. But this claim cannot be checked, cannot be controlled by another source. Anyhow, this is his own claiming. But he has narrated too many elements from the Mr. Heidegger's teachings. As you know, Mr. Heidegger worked for the Nazist party. He was an influential figure in the administration of the Nazist party in the University of Heidelberg.
That's very controversial, because he was the director of the university in Freiburg. That's
yes.
Everything we can say.
Yes, you are right, and it's very controversial. But ever he was questioned by a Spiegel journalist about this accusation, and he said that you never may judge me because you know nothing about me and about my work situations. So this is not cleared, never, but anyhow, his ideas is controversial. I explained last time about, a little bit about his theory of the existence and a pure existence, and also design. And I said that how he generalized these ideas to necessity of resistance of the nations, the other nations outside of the Europe against the influence of the European colonial powers. And in my opinion, because the Germany then was limited too much by the other powers, because the Germany has no access, has no free access to the free seas, was a little bit behind of the comparing with the other sea powers, exactly, or especially by the Anglo-Saxon powers. And maybe these facts was reflected in the teachings of the Mr. Heidegger. Mr. Heidegger strongly believed that the technology is going to fast and ever the technology will cause the stopping of the philosophy, and also will put an end to the thinking. And from this point further, the human will be enslaved by the technology, and this is the danger of the technology. It should be avoided and should be cautioned for.
Mr. Fardid took these ideas and brought them to Iran. Mr.
Fardid took these ideas and brought to Iran, but in Iran before that, the situation was already prepared for accepting such ideas. The biggest point that by Mr. Fardid was exposed to the Iranian scholars was the danger of alienating, because alienating was also a concept that was described by the Mr. Heidegger, but in West was not so promoted, because the technology in West is local, is not imported. But in Iran, the technology was not local, and technology should be imported then. There was not localized. And Mr. Fardid warned that localizing of the technology will cause a kind of the alienating in the society. And this will make us to disconnect with our past and with our history and culture, and we are going to be an alien with our culture, and the people also, the citizens, will be alien with each other. I have already explained that there was an common fields of benefits between the Shia scholars and the Russian strategy about preventing of Iran to achieve the technology and modernity, because in modern society in Iran could be could be a danger for Russia, as modern society could have also a modern army, and modern army maybe can ever go back to receive back the lost provinces, the lost territories. We don't forget that the territories was driven from Iran. Then they were all of them culturalized with the old Iranian culture, and they were Muslims, and they were Iranian. They talk Persian or Turks. Totally, they were strange and alienated with the Russian culture, but they managed, and they were run by the Russian authorities, and a stronger Iran or modern Iran could be a good motivation for them to try to come back to the Iran territory. That's why Russia always tried to prevent Iran to achieve and technology and achieve the modernity, and also this was an the field of the Shia scholars. They also try to prevent the society to achieve to the modernity. They were against the modernity and against the West, actually, because then they would lose their control and authority over the people, over the citizens, because maybe you have to know that until the first years of the 20th century, the education and also the judiciary was they were an monopoly of the Shia scholars. But when the new government established in Iran, because of as a consequence of the Constitution revolution, also the new form schools and new form of judiciary and courts were established in Iran, and then the Shia scholars they lose too many powers and too many authority. In this sense, they was and partner with the Russia to combating with the technology and with the West. What Mr. Fardid has done, make an common or the same identity for modernity and the West. So they said that the West is an the technology comes from West, and if technology comes to Iran, they will bring also its sequences, and one of them is alienating, and also that's why he named this consequence of technology as the West-Toxification. So sorry.
West-Toxification.
West-Toxification. Excuse. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's focus on the philosophy first of Mr. Fardid. We know that he criticizes technology. He talks about end of thinking or end of philosophy, and we know that his ideas are based on Martin Heidegger and maybe on Hegel too. What's his view on Karl Popper? Did he ever talk about Karl Popper's philosophy?
In a letter he has wrote to the Khomeini, to the Ayatollah Khomeini, then he said that I know the Popper, and Popper is like Jean-Paul Sartre. And he has said about Jean-Paul Sartre that he is not a philosopher, he knows nothing, and the best freedom for us is freedom of Jean-Paul Sartre's freedom. So it means that he was against the freedom or open society, what was described by the Karl Popper or Jean-Paul Sartre, and they saw them as an enemy of our culture. And they said that they are enemies of our culture, and they are trying to make an influence and a destructive and devastating influence in our culture. And he also always indicated to the elements of the Heidegger thinking about the alienating of the technology and the dangers of the technology for the societies and countries out of the Europe. I think because of this point, the Mr. Fardid was really a student of Mr. Heidegger, because actually it seems that Mr. Fardid maybe was an so-called ambassador of Mr. Fardid, of Mr. Heidegger to Iran, for example, to stimulate the society to resist against the influence of the West, but this resist was actually a resist against also the modernity and the modernism. And Mr. Fardid was actually at the field and on the side of the Shia scholars to fight with the technology and to prevent the society to achieve the modernity.
All right. So in our next interview, we will focus on the relevance of all these philosophical thoughts of Fardid based on Heidegger and opposing Karl Popper's idea on open society. So thank you for now.
Thank you very much.